Why hello there, Brent here with Bring Your Own Tools. On today's episode, if you want to see how I transform this beam from this to this, well, keep on watching. Let's get started. This walnut is absolutely gorgeous, but it is planed down on both sides, so we have a beautiful flat surface, but the sides of these boards are not actually perfectly straight. We need to straighten them out, which is why I made my own homemade track saw, and we'll straighten out one edge, then put the rest through the table saw. If you don't have a track saw and interested in saving some money, this little invention that I made with a scrap piece of plywood was incredible, and all you need is one factory edge from the plywood, screw that down to another piece of plywood, then you have a very functional homemade track saw that saves you hundreds of dollars. You do have to clamp it down to the piece that you're working on, but as long as you have it clamped down, you have a very nice straight edge all the way across the board. Once we have that nice straight edge, I bring it over to our table saw and run the straight edge against our table saw fence. I'm trying to salvage as much material as I possibly can for each board because this material is expensive. It is solid black American walnut, and I'll leave a link in the description box below on where I purchased this, but obviously you can do this with many different types of wood species. I did this to every single board, and I accounted for at least a 10% waste factor. Luckily I did, because all I was left with at the end of this project was a half a board. That's it. It also decided to snow here in the Pacific Northwest, which did make my garage chilly, but luckily it snowed after I picked up this material. In order to make this wrap look as realistic as possible, I'm going with a mitered corner edge at the very bottom versus a butt-to-butt joint. A butt-to-butt joint will still look good, but it will give it away immediately that this is just a wrap, not a solid walnut beam going all the way across the living room, which is what we're going for on this project. I set my table saw blade at a 45-degree angle and utilize my table saw feather board to position those boards properly and have consistent pressure all the way across in order to have as accurate a 45-degree angle as possible. The boards that are on the underside of our beam actually get two 45s because we're going to be wrapping both sides, and keep in mind the bottom boards of this wrap need to be the exact same width all the way across the beam. The most important thing with this wrap is to have the proper width for our beam. In order to make this as easy and straightforward as possible, I actually made a template to guarantee ourselves that we had a wrap that would fit this beam. The interior dimension of the template was about 1/8 of an inch wider than the actual beam itself, so keep that in mind to make sure that it fits properly the very first time you install it. In order to true up each end of our boards, I take it over to my chop saw and cut off the ends, as well as make sure that each one is at the appropriate length. I'm trying to get as much out of this material as possible, so I'm cutting each board at 8 feet long and then a few at 6 feet long based upon the length of our beam. Once all of our ends were cut, I sand down all the mitered edges as well as the faces of each board, at least the faces that are going to be seen. It's a lot easier to sand these down when they're flat than when they're built into a oddly shaped item, I assure you. Once the sanding is all taken care of, it's time for glue up. And for glue up, we're using Titebond 2 dark glue. Now this dark is actually nice because it really works well with dark wood like walnut, of course. If you're using a lighter wood, you can always use your standard Titebond 2, but in this circumstance, I suggest using the dark version. I roll on our glue to both 45-degree angles and then use my pin nailer to pin them all the way down accordingly. I recently purchased this pin nailer and I absolutely love it for a multitude of different reasons. Number one being it's just battery operated, so I don't have to use any air. And number two is that you can barely see the holes and penetrations of the wood. I don't even have to worry about filling these holes because you can barely see them right in front of you, let alone them being attached to a beam that's 12 feet up. Once I have a few pin nails in place, I then flip it over so it's more manageable and then secure it all the way down. Now I suggest having a nail pass every 4 to 6 inches to guarantee that those seams are as tight as possible. And the next trick that I'm going to show you is extremely valuable if you want a cohesive look for your beam. All the excess glue, go ahead and wipe off that excess and immediately start sanding it smooth. That walnut dust will actually stick to the glue and fill that seam in order to have a perfectly filled hole and edge all the way down. As for knot holes, I personally love the look of a natural knot hole, but I don't want the stark white beam to come through, and therefore, in order to have the best of both worlds, I put a piece of tape on the back side and then fill the bottom of the knot hole with CA glue and some accelerator. This way you have a beautifully structurally sound knot hole that is black and not stark white. Once the AC glue dries, I then flipped the board over and started adhering our third board to this entire wrap. Same exact process of adhesion, and if you're wondering why it's a different size, just keep in mind that I was only able to get certain size boards when purchasing this material, and I had to make do with whatever was readily available. Once nailed, I proceeded by wiping off any of the excess glue and then sanding down that edge smooth so we have a nice cohesive look. Once that was taken care of and the glue was dry, I then took a tack cloth, wiped off any of the excess sawdust and debris prior to finishing. For finishing, I'm going to be using my favorite finish on walnut, which is Armasil Satin Finish by General Finishes. I personally find this to be one of the most satisfying parts of any woodworking project, and this project especially because look at how much that grain pops instantly when applying the finish. As for application, I'm just using a clean lint-free cloth and a liberal amount of finish because this wood is extremely dry and soaks it up immediately. But with this finish, keep in mind that after you have it fully applied to the board, make sure you go back within 10 to 15 minutes and wipe off any of the excess, because if you don't, the finish won't actually dry properly and might feel more tacky in the end. Not what we want. Once all the excess finish is removed, I proceed to moving on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and then all the other flat stock material that was cut, sanded, and finished the same exact way as all the other boards that I showed, but with no mitered corners like our U-shape wrap system that we just built. I applied 2 coats of finish to each board, let it dry overnight, and we can now finally get to the installation portion of this project. But when you're up 12 feet in the air, how am I going to get quality footage of this entire process? I found a way. Definitely a bit difficult to try and get these shots since we're so high up here, but luckily for me, I figured out a way. Clamp it down, and then this guy, we're gonna just connect you as needed. Work around that one. Bend you any way I want. No hands, Mom. Woo! After I was on site for a bit, I quickly realized that I didn't want a chance of any of this white to be peeking through any of the seams, and therefore, in order to guarantee ourselves that there's no possible chance of that, I'm actually going to paint this beam black first, just to make sure that there's no white peeking through. As you can see right here, there's actually electrical conduit that leads to an added chandelier that was recently added to this space. In order to account for this thickness across the entire plane, I actually place a mark on the wall where I want the very bottom of our wrap to be. While I have my friend hold this wrap in place on the far side, I'm using a 16 gauge finish nailer, and I just need to make sure that the bottom of the wrap is in line with the mark that I place on the wall, and as long as that's taken care of, I can nail it in place and then move on to the opposite side, level it out, and nail that side in place as well. The second piece that we're butting up against this piece is going to be going right over our chandelier unit, and that's why I need to take down the chandelier and measure out the center point of our electrical box, which in this case is approximately 18 inches. Once I have that distance noted, I then take a center mark of the width of our wrap and take a very sizable hole saw to our beam. If you do have to do this on your project, I strongly suggest double and triple checking your measurements so you know for certain this hole is exactly where it needs to be placed. Luckily for us, we drilled it correctly the very first time, and as long as I have it butted up right up against the existing beam that's already in place, I nail it once on that side, grab my level, and as long as we're showing level across both wraps, I can nail it a few more times into its final resting position. I needed to do some slight adjustments to actually bend the other side up in order for the bottom of our wrap to be fully level, because it did seem to be a bit cattywampus on the opposite side. And yes, cattywampus is the technical construction term, I assure you. In order to provide a seam that aligned well on all three sides between these two wraps, I actually clamped them down and then nailed them in place. They already aligned quite well in any case, but I just wanted to make sure that we had as best of a seam as possible. I did have to eventually cut some of these wraps to the appropriate length once we ran into the post in the center of the room, and in order to do so and to make it as easy as possible because these things are a bit tricky to handle, I'm using a homemade table sled and my table saw to guarantee that I have a consistent cut all the way across three sides. This setup really did make life a lot easier, just be mindful of all your digits when doing this. In our application, we have to account for a steel conduit, but with a few simple measurements and our jigsaw, we're quickly able to make a perfect notch for the conduit. Luckily for us, you're not going to be able to see this notch because we are going to be wrapping the post after this project. And if you want to provide a few different material ideas on how you would like to see the post taken care of, let me know in the comment section because I am interested. Since we do have a post running through the middle of our living room, I found it very beneficial to work from the sides and move in towards the post. That will provide you with the best, cleanest look possible on the sides that are being butting up against the walls, and the cuts and gaps that are between your wrap and your post are not that significant because they're going to be wrapped with some type of material after we're done with the beam. Once we have both sides of our U-channel wrap secured, we can finally move on to our flat stock material, which is going to be a lot easier to manage, but you got to take a moment and just realize that looks amazing. Yep. As for our flat stock, none of it is actually cut to size. I actually just tried and salvaged as much of the material as possible when planing it down earlier, but now that we're on site and we're able to take accurate measurements, I'm able to cut them to the exact appropriate length. The problem is that because the ceiling is actually angled, means we need to provide a 45-degree upward angle on one side and a 45-degree downward angle on the other side of the beam. Now, this really didn't add that much time and energy to the process, but another step that we had to account for. Another item that we also needed to account for on this project was the fact that the existing beam has cladding on it, and that cladding actually is not perfectly flush, and therefore I had to position a few shims along the side in order to have a perfectly flush board that lays flush up against the existing walnut wrap below it. This was actually quite a satisfying portion of the project because of the fact that we had so much hard work and energy put into this system prior to even getting to this, and because of that we have a very simplistic plug and play type product that we just need to cut to the appropriate length and nail properly. Now, I did say that we do need to provide some shims accordingly, but that was very simplistic in this process. And as far as fastening goes, I applied 2 nails on each side of the boards at the ends and then corresponding every 12 inches from there. And as you can see right here at the top of the ceiling, this is where we actually had to make our downward 45-degree angle cut in order for these sides to fit properly in comparison to the upper 45-degree angle on the opposite side of the beam. As I finished up installing the rest of these panels, I did realize that the seams between each of our U-channels needed a little bit of attention, and that's because those seams were very difficult to get perfectly flush on all 3 sides, and I made the executive decision to fill them in order to have a more cohesive professional look in the end. The best wood filler, in my opinion, especially in this type of application, is to just take a large amount of sawdust from the walnut itself and some glue. The same exact wood glue that we used previously, mix that up thoroughly and fill that crack as needed. Once filled, I wipe off the excess, remove the tape, and you have a very nice seam. However, keep in mind that there is a very stark color difference right now, but once that glue dries, it will dry much darker than the very light color you see there. All in all, I filled 3 seams on this entire system and I let the glue dry overnight. Once it was dry, I could then come back to it, and as you can see, the glue dried much darker. I did want to provide a final coat of finish, which is just a very thin layer of application, and once that was taken care of, we are done with this amazing transformation. Anytime I'm able to work with Black American Walnut is a good day in my book, and as you can see, this is truly one amazing transformation. To what it was before, to what this beautiful beam is now, adds an incredible amount of warmth and eye appeal to this entire space. And that's what I call is one truly beautiful, sexy beast. Now we just need to get to the post.